that's in the right step. I have a few friends whose children are in international schools. And yesterday, they made preparations to say that our children are going to be home for the next week. So as mothers, as fathers, they understand the context. Some of these children or their classmates have parents who have gone to Turkey, they've come from China, you know, so the rate of transmission can be managed appropriately if this kind of closure happens. However, I don't think that we should be encouraging too much of it because we don't want to cause panic with two reported cases yet. So I'll be watching that space to find out what other schools will be doing. I know my children's school, for instance, they are not closing them yet, but my children tell me that at assembly, instead of, you know, stretch your hand to the next person, now they say, don't touch your friend. And as they are playing, don't hug, don't do, you know, so these basic things are being done. And so I think it's in the right direction. To the point of what I would want to see to get assurance in this journey, and I call it a journey because we all don't know the end state yet. The first is that one of the challenges known in our system, Ghana here, is the poor health professional attitude. We need the health professionals to have good attitude at this time, because poor attitude serves as a barrier to access. If the person comes, they have a little headache, you show bad attitude, you don't have that, you know, they would end up going. And when the person turns away from the health facility and goes home, perhaps they go and infect maybe 100 or so people. The second I would want to see, and this is from everybody, especially in government, is I would want to see a very clear strategy which is multi-sectorial. As I mentioned earlier, where I said it's good to have GES and GHS working collaboratively, I would want to see what the Agric Ministry is doing with Ministry of Health, for instance, because we have extension officers who go to the rural areas. I would want to see what the local government is doing in terms of sanitation. Because like I said, we already had our problems in terms of health, and then now Corona has come to compound it. The next point is I would want to see intensified public education. This is very important to me. I feel the education that's going on now is very high level. I've written, I have a working paper on how people in specialized groups, for instance, are not able to access healthcare. And we are talking about people with disability, for instance. I'm talking about pregnant women who can't go to gatherings because maybe they are heavy. And so what strategies, specific strategies are being put in place to communicate with these specialized people? So if you can't hear, you can see. What communication is there? Because we've seen the audiovisuals from Ghana Health Service. What does it mean to the person who is an illiterate? Should we, I see the images out there, very good. Some people who still see these images won't understand. There's one of the posters that talks about do not shake hands, but the image is that of somebody holding the person's hand. So I see it, I'm thinking, okay, are you saying I should be holding people's hands? Or you're trying to tell me not to hold hands? There's miscommunication in this space. We don't want that.
But you have done a translation of the messages.
Yes,
and you have them in different languages.
Yes, yes. And that's what I'm trying to say, that that is good. But we need to be, it should be intensified. And the consumption of these this information is very important. Right. You know, the other point is that the point of entry, and that's what people have been talking about. What is it? Because I think about 2 weeks ago, CCTV or something showed Aflao and how they were prepared for coronavirus. I was particularly not very encouraged when the immigration officer was telling us what they've been doing. And I've been to Aflao a number of times. The people just, I mean, Sister Comfort is over there, Auntie Rabba is just here. We are just sisters, you know, across the border. What are we doing? We want to see that they are coming in, but they are concrete steps to, you know, isolating people when need be and all that. My final point would be on the involvement of women. Women form a greater percentage of the population in Ghana right now. And women are a powerful source of as change agents. So our fertility rate, I think we are at 3.9% per woman in terms of children. So let's just say we all even have 3 children. Looking at the population of women in Ghana, we educate or we make our information or education, public education, sensitive to women who in the end would end up going home to educate their children. Okay, because the children can bring it, but they don't survive, they don't die, you know. And women, because we are caregivers, if we have an elderly woman at home, we can take appropriate steps to protect our households. So I think that in all our communication and our strategies, we need to be able to identify these groups who are powerful, who can cause the change we want to see, and then we all win this coronavirus problem in a concerted manner.